Invincible.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Peace of Jesus Christ be with you. I hope everyone doing well. And basically, tonight, me and brother Nico will be talking about the favorite best movies, basically. We'll start in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and their blessings. So we'll say hello to all of you, dear brothers and sisters, Janice, Sister Dragona, and everyone. God bless you and keep you safe. Um, the welcome, brother.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello, brother. Welcome.
How are you doing? How's everyone in the chat? I'm pretty excited about this stream. This today we're going to be doing a quick review of some of the most influential films um, from Hollywood, and then we'll follow it up with a discussion about some of our favorites. Everyone who would like to come up and talk about their own, something that might be their favorite, something that influenced their lives, or even something that they're not crazy about. Talk about that too. And then next week, we may follow that up with a review of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, going back to our regularly scheduled kind of format. Um, and that was going to entail all kinds of things, including bricks and even a mention of the Armenian genocide and all kinds of things that surround, um, let's say, modern Greek history. When I say modern Greek history, I mean the last 2,000 years post Christ. And next month, I would like to do a watch party. I'm thinking about maybe doing The Sheik or The Son of the Sheik, the sequel that came a few years later, old silent film from the 20s. So, or something else, we'll see. But we'll get all the tech issues worked out by then, and we should be ready to launch something like that next month too. I would like to break up the monotony of doing straight up movie reviews on a weekly basis with either a hangout like this or a watch party, something a little more uplifting. Yeah, Dragon says My Big Fat Greek Wedding is one of my favorites. A lot of people love that one, but yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it next week, most likely. So yeah, with that, I'm ready to go whenever you guys are. Should I get right into it? Yeah, I'll take that as a yes. All right.
Yes, brother. Yes, brother. Please. Yeah. Please go ahead. Please
All right, let's get
go
into
ahead.
it. Because, yeah, as you guys can see, I've got a lot to cover today. So we're going to talk about, like, again, our favorite flicks. Just looking at this cover slide, you guys can kind of get an idea. You might recognize some of these films. Some may have impacted your life, some may not. For example, The Passion of the Christ was a very influential film, very controversial, unfortunately. So and so on. And I've got a lot of films that we're talk about as far as the most influential, but that I'm going to try to do a different format. I'm going to try to zip through it, going one by one. You will be able to see a big image of it of the flick, the movie poster that is, and we'll do a brief discussion and just zip right through it, and then we'll get to the my favorite section after that. Followed it up with a Q&A, inviting people up. All right. So as we said, next week will be the A Big Fat Greek Wedding. We'll talk about Firam, the occupied island of Cyprus. Nobody refers to it as the Greek island that's occupied for some reason. The current mass migration of disgruntled Muslims into Europe, or Islamic encroachment in all reality. The EU-Turkey agreement surrounding that. Yeah, and just how 2,000 years of Greek Christian history somehow doesn't exist in any textbook or in any media or anything like that. Just only discussion about pre-Christian society and how somehow that is to be blamed for the things that are being done these days. I mean, those Greeks back in ancient times must have been super powerful somehow. Anyway, so we're also talking about a series, a streaming series called Crapopolis. It was in the vein of The Simpsons and that kind of thing, which obviously makes fun of Greek society and, of course, emphasizes on that pre-Christian society in the process. And that was being aired, and the sequel, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, another trilogy. While the Armenian genocide was going on, the Greeks were continuously getting slandered. But forget all that. Let's talk about the 40 flicks. All right, I'm going to try to do 40 flicks in 15 minutes. And these are some of the most influential flicks worldwide, even. And really, there's no science behind it. I just went through them as remembered how they impacted me and everyone around me at the time. So go. Time me. 15 minutes. Here we go. 1915, The Birth of a Nation. This film was accredited for revitalizing the KKK. At least that's what they say it did now. Before that, the KKK had died, and this brought back a movement. And again, in the late 20th century, the KKK had disbanded, actually. But with all the CRT stuff going on, poking the bear, as they say, maybe the stuff is resurfaced, at least in neo-Nazism has. Yeah, of course. Yeah, as we know, with all the gender attacks and all the attacks on Christianity, prompted attacks on Christianity by sodomites, including a school shooting and so on and so forth, mass media is doing the exact opposite. They're doing their own KKK, hypocritically so. 1939, The Wizard of Oz. I'm sure everyone here has seen that one. Would kind of fantasize about it. Is one of the first films screened in full color. The other one was Gone with the Wind. It's arguable which one was actually the first. Yeah, this movie influenced a lot of other movies that followed. The spaghetti westerns, the old Italian flicks, was one of the most famous cowboys of the movie industry was Clint Eastwood characters. 1966, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was one of the most famous ones. Also, A Fistful of Dollars, and so on. Yeah, British and American films and TV are closely tied. You'll discover when you start looking into it. So there's especially the UK British films and American films. They're almost one and the same, arguably. 1968, The Green Beret. This one is credited for influencing military involvement to fight communism abroad post-draft. So it was considered to be one of the most pro-war propaganda pieces, as they describe it these days. And it's interesting, these descriptions and these views, how the communists in America were considered victims, the Hollywood types that were blacklisted for their communist affiliations and activity. And then the Kennedys were shot, and all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, it's a backward portrayal, which we see a lot of, these backward portrayals, these wondrous, diabolical movements of propaganda through Hollywood. 1972, The Godfather. Yeah, complete this quote-unquote adage: keep your friends close, and I've even asked my Chinese students, young ones, to complete this, and they would be able to complete it. It would say, yeah, keep your friends closer and your enemies closer, which is insane, and it's not really an adage. It actually came from this movie, but influenced generations across the world. And of course, the portrayal, the trope of everybody Italian is a mafioso. That helps sustain or proliferate that. 1973, everybody's kung fu fighting, right? Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee became a craze, and all of a sudden everyone wanted to, be a martial artist, do karate, and so on. The same thing with not as popular, but The Octagon with Chuck Norris. All of a sudden, ninja things became a thing. Everyone before then, nobody knew anything about ninjas, but all of a sudden, ninjas became a craze. 1973, The Exorcist. That still freaks people out. That movie. And there's a lot of other movies that have been done like this movie, including its sequels, of course. But suddenly, everyone is possessed. Everyone's scared of being possessed after this movie. They're freaked out that they might have to jump out the window to kill a demon or something, right? Or yeah, demons are everywhere. Watch out. 1975, Jaws. Suddenly, everyone's scared to go into the water. Everyone's scared of sharks, which I guess is a healthy fear, I guess, but not really, because shark attacks are extremely rare. 1976, Rocky. Okay, great film, very motivational. Um, I have my questions about Sylvester Stallone, as I do about the movie industry at large, but yeah, it was a really cool film. He did have some religious tones in it for sure, which was really cool to see. It was refreshing, in fact. And that is something that he wrote and insisted in being an actor in himself. So he had a huge role in influencing that. But after watching it, all of a sudden everyone thinks that they're Rocky, and they can throw crazy punches and take all kind of punishment, right? 1977, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay, that was super big back in the 70s, very influential, and everyone was suddenly excited about the prospect of meeting aliens. Not that that wasn't pushed before. That was a huge thing in the mid 20th century, especially the whole alien thing. But this movie made it cool to make that contact, that first contact, and how exciting that may be with a cool, friendly aliens, or however that's defined these days. 1977, Jesus of Nazareth, one of the most influential TV movies. Um, so, yeah, I mean, even to this day, people are familiar with Jesus of Nazareth, and it's refreshing to have an actual Christian movie have such a great positive impact. But I wonder what people say collectively about this movie these days. I'm intrigued about that. 1977, Saturday Night Fever. All right, everyone wanted to be John Travolta after this. Everyone wanted to be dressed like him, look like him, dance like him, and so on. So, but yeah, the popularization of this disco culture also was affiliated with drug abuse or drug use, really. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't really. We're talking about acid and really heavy drugs. Not that I think minor drugs are good either, but so it was not really the greatest influence. It was a cool movie, not a good one, in essence. 1977, Star Wars. I myself, for the longest time, viewed this as a Christian movie. Um, but if you look at it, George Lucas was most likely California spiritual, and I mean, we have the bad habit of Christians of projecting our Christianity onto things that may not be actually Christian. But I mean, to this day, I still use the argument of you don't want to turn to the dark side through the passions. I use this movie as an example. It's a good visual illustration of it. And then everyone was a telekinetic after this movie. Everyone had the Force, right? Or another one, the yeah, go ahead, Amir.
I wanna cut you off just for 1 second. I wanna ask Damien to go to Lloyd's as long as he's posting, not greeting, not that Lloyd is live. He's posting like a couple of times. Like Lloyd is live streaming. Yes, Damien, just go there and post that same thing. Say Amir and Nico are live now. Just go post it twice there and come back. We are waiting for you. All right, brother,
Yeah,
keep going. Sorry for cutting you off.
yeah, no, I'm glad you did that. No, and ironically, I was gonna make a comment about that myself before the stream, and decided to bite my tongue. I'm a little bothered, to be honest with you, about his sudden timing this past couple of weeks to stream right before me. Given that our history about the roots of Hollywood, which I mean, he's very militant, communist, in fact, about anyone speaking any truth about Hebrews, and I take offense to that. So I
No,
appreciate,
no
and I
worries.
like, oh, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I
Zana
like,
B, welcome.
Yeah,
and Damien and everyone, welcome. God bless you all. Go ahead. Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
that's right. No, I appreciate a lot of things he does. I've learned some, things about him, about things, from him. But his approach toward, I mean, to say that Islam is really bad, therefore the Jews are guilty of nothing, and they get angry about it if anyone says anything factual about Jews is a bit concerning to me, especially when you
Yeah.
threaten people with censorship, which is communist, which Karl Marx was Jewish. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Welcome, Breakfast Gun. Welcome. Look, I like him, but he's got some approaches I don't like. But
yeah,
he's good guy, I think.
he's a good guy,
Uh,
but divisive
yes.
for
The
sure.
only thing we ask Damien to post couple of comments like that
Yeah,
and come back to us because we love Damien. Yeah.
yeah. Advertise for us too. There you go.
Yes.
Uh, all right. So yeah, speaking, kind of, sort of, maybe not in the same vein, but this movie was centered about this father-son conflict. The son has got to defeat his father to come of age. And something we keep hearing now lately is sins of the father. You hear that throughout media, which I find intriguing. All right, 1979, Apocalypse Now. I mean, this was an anti-war film. Again, this is post-assassination of the Kennedys. All of a sudden, communism is getting entrenched in the media, and we see a degradation of morality, which is a part of communism. Whether you look at Yuri Bezmenov warning from the 70s, or work that people like Jay Dyer do with academic, factual stuff behind all these organizations and their influence. Um, even psychology. I mean, the list goes on and on. These are all factual things. They're historical. So, um, but yeah, it's interesting how American soldiers are deemed evil, but no other military is in Hollywood. Think about that. Why is that? And of course, it made you get scared of going to war against fascism, because you don't want to get caught by the enemy, get treated like these guys, or go crazy like they did. 1979, The Warriors. This was a cult classic. It also used Greek mythology as a background theme, which I find interesting. It made being in a gang really popular, and also the movie starts with stating the fact that gang members outnumber cops. Why did they put that at the beginning of the movie? It's kind of interesting. So this kind of really helped uh, proliferate, not proliferate, but really empower or augment gang members. And in the 70s, you'll find that the Crips got really big too. Maybe a coincidence, maybe not. But we'll get to that too in a moment. 1981, Quest for Fire. All of a sudden, now we saw an audiovisual of the whole evolutionary theory, the Darwinian theory that people came from apes, which to this day we still don't know where the missing link is. It's, I mean, talk about fantasies. But yeah, it was really influential, and it was done without dialogue, so it could be real. Kind of like Mel Gibson had did the whole the Passion of the Christ in Aramaic, and that was a big discussion, a big selling point. Their big selling point was everyone was grunting, and of course the vulgar caveman behavior. 1981, Excalibur. This is for the Dungeons and Dragons crowd, but it made it really mainstream, the whole occult thing. It's of course based off of the whole Merlin, you know, Knights of the Round Table legends. But yeah, I mean, everyone wanted to be the chosen one. They wanted to be able to be the one that's worthy to pull the sword out of the stone, or worthy to hold Thor's hammer, or worthy to have Doctor Strange's cape for the fanboys out there. You know, this worthiness to obtain powers from the occult became popular. D&D also had become really big in the 70s as well. All living in your head and fantasizing about the occult. 1982, First Blood, Rambo. Super popular movie. What's the movie about? It's about someone who has post-traumatic syndrome from a war veteran, Vietnam veteran, because going to war against the communists in Vietnam was bad, according to media, according to Hollywood. Um, and it gave people, of course, a sense of invincibility. You can, shoot off hundreds and hundreds of rounds without getting hit yourself. Everyone's a Rambo. That was a trope, and which was eventually made fun of, but because emasculation. But also, it made an insurrection, quote unquote insurrection, look awesome. It made revolutionary, becoming defiant, look really cool. It's particularly shooting up cops, because whatever, they're just, cops are bad. They bother people for no reason. 1982, Gandhi made this controversial historical figure look like the Messiah. Right? I mean, nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but generally speaking, people were talking about, be peaceful and loving like Gandhi, not peaceful and loving like Jesus Christ. And of course, Gandhi himself is notarized for being more atheist and anti-Christian, even though we like to project Christianity onto him. 1983, E.T., Extraterrestrial. This was a super popular movie back in the day. In the movie theaters, there was not a dry eye. So there was an intense emotional attachment to the alien character. All the keychain, ET keychains, and merchandise, the stuffed animals, and so on and so forth was huge. And to this day, children still know ET and watch it. And of course, like I said, aliens are being portrayed to look cute.
This is
Okay,
one of the softest
yeah,
and lovely movies was ever, really, like really nice. E.T. Go Home. It's a really lovely movie. It took a big hit. You know,
yeah,
lovely
yeah. I
movie.
mean, all these were big hits, and they're all been my personal favorites. But as of late, as you can see, my tone is very much anti-media for because of its implications and things we're going through this day. I'm trying
I
to, yeah. Thank you, but thank you for that, Amir. Thank you for making things this a little more positive. I'm being still ho hum. Try not to be, but it's hard for me not to be, uh, let's say, realistic about the movie industry.
yeah.
1983, Scarface. A really popular uh, saying was "Say hello to my little friend." When at the end, after all his debauchery, the character Scarface. And this was actually a remake, by the way. So he's shooting everyone up. Excuse me. Right after snorting cocaine like a horse, right? So also this idea of you can snort cocaine, become Superman, become invincible, kind of got into people's heads. Yeah. Also the idea, and to this day, these little druggies, drug dealers, um, love this movie, reference it, and think that they can build their own empire by being, yeah, just thugs. 1983, Silkwood. I would say this is a positive film, and it's with its implications. It made some feel helpless against industrialization, but it also brought attention to the dangers of nuclear power and of industrialization. 1983, War Games. This was a bit of a fear-mongering film, and it's a very relevant topic these days. Um, yeah, Back to the Future was a great one. Precious Gun, yeah, great one. Um, yeah, and there's a lot of movies that I'm not going that I haven't mentioned. I mean, I'm already talking about 40 of them, but there's a lot of great influential movies that don't make the list. So please keep sharing ones that impact you. But great, Back to the Future was another topic that is good. Another one was Lost in Time is one of my personal favorites. That kind of talks about time travel. Oops, I'm getting on tangent. All right, let's get back to the thing here. Um, yeah, so war games gave us this idea that if technology takes over, there's nothing we could do. It could destroy us, and this is the rhetoric that we keep hearing over and over again. But the solution is simple: pull the plug. Really, not like Ron DeSantis. I'm gonna get political for a second. Ron DeSantis a couple of years ago, his government gave a lot algorithms, Facebook's algorithms, absolute uh, autonomy. Like it made it above the law, and that's the excuse they use for all their wrongdoing. So this is problematic, especially as we see AI taking over humanity in this role more and more these days. Now, AI is even creating videos, not just images, so and not just stories. Amazon has publicly announced a few months ago that they're employing AI to use creative intellectual property others have made to generate their own stories, which is horrendous. Horrendous. I've got a little video. We'll get into that at the end. In fact, maybe I should share that now. Let's actually let me keep going. I'll get back to the video at the end. We'll talk about that a little more. 1984, A Nightmare on Elm Street. For those of you who watched it, let's see, how did that song go? The little kids jumping rope, they were singing, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, gonna pick, right? So,
I
uh,
love. Go ahead, keep going, keep going.
yeah,
You should keep singing in the streams. You know that.
yeah. But it's amazing how I watched that movie decades ago, but I can still remember all the lyrics and the tone. I mean, it's a movie that definitely made an impression and made people scared of their dreams, and the dreams have power over us. You know, nightmares are bad, and all these things that really, when we start believing that, we're empowering the demonic. And it's interesting also that the character was a pedophile who came back to get revenge on his victims. That's
Yes. The characters, they always implement some stuff like that, in their movies. They never change, you know that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Looking back at it, it's like, wow, I can't
Hollywood.
believe I like this
Yeah,
stuff.
Hollywood always like that, implementing stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Adrian. Welcome, brother.
So another one in that vein was Children of the Corn. I mean, everyone, 1984, everyone, got scared of cornfields, and it also proliferated, or I should say, prompted this whole children against parents thing. I mean, it wasn't really nothing new at that point, but it really drove that home. 1984 again, The Last Starfighter, another one of my personal favorites. It encouraged people to become really good invested in video games, and therefore, if you become really good video game skills, you can go into the universe and become a last starfighter and save the universe, that kind of thing. Um, and we see the implications of that kind of mindset. The whole idea of playing arcades back then. Arcades, you move the joystick, you press your button, and you get like hand-eye coordination was the argument. You get good hand-eye coordination by playing arcade games, and those are good skills to have, which is not a reality. You're just kind of losing focus of reality when you play video games, and that's why we do it, to get away. 1986, Platoon. Again, this was an anti-U.S. military, pro-communist movie. It showed how the U.S. military is horrendous. It's detrimental to those who get involved. Um, as far as that goes, I've had experiences where I'm teaching young Chinese students who, at some point, they would wear their communist school outfits, and I'd even one that was like, I think it was like 7 years old, really young, cutesy, like adorable and super smart, one of the cutest kids you'll ever meet. And then one day, I think it was a national Chinese holiday, he was like, China will kill everyone. He was like jeering on, like, kill everyone, kill Japan, kill everyone. I'm like, kill America. I'm like, okay, well, what about me? Everyone, kill everyone. So this kid who loved me, he's really cute, really young. It was going on about world domination and killing everyone, including his beloved teacher. And that kind of sentiment is, I don't, in my experience, hasn't been dominant, but it's definitely present. And we see that in Islam too. We see in the whole, what is that mouse character, Farfor, and that kind of conditioning, which also exists in the U.S. by the way. Texas schools you got his Muslim schools that are teaching that. I've got video of that in my own edited video on my channel about Islam, how Hollywood, why does it support Islam? So yeah, I mean it's a real problem. Grassroots movement of fascism. 1987, The Last Emperor. Speaking of which, I made Imperial China look great. It's Chinese history. It made it wonderful. It made the Chinese look like victims, and I'm not saying they're not. They have been themselves invaded. We know by the Mongols, of course, in World War II by Japan. Um, but yeah, they've got a very long history, even before communism, of absolute oppression of its own citizens and just being vile towards its neighbors itself. Vietnam, Korea, Japan. I mean, the list goes on. Russia. 1987, Dirty Dancing. Okay, so before this movie, you can go to a nightclub and have a normal dancing kind of, let's call it normal dancing kind of tradition. But after this movie, forgive me, but everyone started getting on the dance floor, started dry humping. It completely changed the culture of dancing altogether. Some decades later, drugs and techno music made things completely psychedelic and weird. But this one, this movie was the one that made it all raunchy. And of course, it's about abortion, pro-abortion. The hero is a hero for paying for abortion.
Yeah, it is about this kind of things, abortion and stuff like that. And tell me, brother, this babe, the whole movie, she was a babe. She didn't grow up. Why? She,
That's great.
her name is baby or something, and she
Yeah,
didn't grow up. She was as old as.
that's hilarious.
It's a pro by the way, pro Jewish, pro all of them, including her. They were about a Jewish, about abortion, about so many things. They spoke about so many topics in this movie. We should speak about it by itself. you know
Sure, I love that. That's a great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, same as a couple of movies you mentioned previously, but this one specifically, I think we should speak about it by itself. Y-
That's a that's a great point. We'll do that. In fact, we'll talk about it and encourage those in the audience, or even afterwards, if you watch us afterwards, in the comment section, leave your ideas. If you see any movies that you think we should do, let us know. Or even ones that don't make the list, let us know. Like Back to the Future was another good one.
Yes,
All right, back to the gang thing. 1988, Colors. This movie, I mean, one of the rap songs was, let's see if I can remember this one. Colors, colors. I'm a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of the jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker, quick as my fuse. I don't know, I can't remember, but yeah, I mean that's from the decades ago, and I can still off the top of my head remember the lyrics of that. That was really popular, along with Coolio, Gangster's Paradise, and another different silly movie. Um, so yeah, I mean this promoted arguably the gang war. It was good. It was realistic. It showed both sides. I thought this was the most Ghostbusters of Jurassic Park. Breakfast Gun says really cool. Really good choices. Breakfast Gun. Yeah. So realistic perspective. It showed both sides. I appreciated that. It showed the plight of the cop to some degree, and I like that. Well, yeah, it popularized the Bloods of Crips in the 80s. There was a big boom between the two. Next thing you know, everyone across the country and probably in the world too, I can't speak to that, but I would imagine they wanted to be either Blood or Crip. It was a real problem statistically. 1988, Mississippi Burning. I'm actually relatively thankful for this movie.
brother.
Yes.
We have a couple of suggestions from our brother in here. Ghostbusters and Jurassic Parks. Park.
Yeah, done
Yeah,
deal. I love those. Yeah.
yeah, lovely. Thank
Um,
you. Thank you, brother, for those suggestions. I encourage everyone to suggest some good movies. Yes, thank
yeah.
you.
And Dragon mentioned The Fog, which is really interesting because when that movie came out, that did influence a lot of people too, have them a fear of the fog and how they might eat their faces off or something, right? you know.
Ah, yes, I remember the fog. Yeah, yeah. I didn't pay attention for Dragon's message, but
Mm,
yes, it is good movie as well. Yeah, yeah, I remember it. Ah, yeah, I
mm,
saw it now. I saw the message. Yeah. Okay.
mm. So yeah, 1988 Mississippi Burning. It made the KKK a shameful thing. Soon after that, the, it was abolished. But another thing it did was cemented the stereotype of the Southerner. You know, the Southerner is stupid, the Southerner is racist, and so on and so forth, which is in itself bigoted, fascist. 1988, The Accused. Great, another great film. It brought attention the whole rape thing, and I can't remember, but you guys let me know in the chat if this is true, whether or not this was based on a true story. I believe it was. Um, but yeah, it also, I don't want to use the word empowered, but it gave the people the encourage, these victims, to speak out to, because usually when people get raped, woman or man, by the way, I think more so for men. More men are especially ashamed of confessing that they've been raped, especially when they're raped by women, which does happen. So this movie gave those people the courage to come out and fight back, because you can win and there can be justice, so to speak. 1993, Mrs. Doubtfire, crossdresser. It made it look cool. It made the emasculated dad look cool. And the whole idea of leaving your kids with a manly woman, I don't know about that. 1994, Interview with a Vampire. This one was
Uh,
really, sorry, go ahead.
can I cut you off in here?
Please,
But
please.
that movie that show a fact that yeah, this movie it was lovely movie, but it show fact about women and man, like the empowering woman, and like how man they becoming lately in Europe and US, like. Women that can throw out man and no for no reason, let's say, or even if he's working hard or stuff like that. So he's like a tool now. He does he's not no matter what he is, or even if no matter she'll break a house for no reason, you know, or stuff like that, like some subjects like that inside this movie. You can see like she will replace him by any guy, rich,
Mhm.
doesn't matter what kind of guys, but it showed that the cases like that, don't you think so, brother?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it now you reminded me just of another personal favorite of mine. Um, not irreconcilable differences. Actually, I hate that one. What was it? Oh boy, it just escaped me. With Dustin Hoffman, it
Yes,
was a divorce movie. Oh boy,
yes,
I
yes,
just had it under my mind. I forgot. It was called Kramer versus Kramer.
yes,
So that movie was really popular too, and in a sense, it kind of brought attention to what you're talking about. And in this movie, finally, a man is able to keep his child because of the mother, and the mother actually in this movie was portrayed horribly. So I liked it as a child. I liked it as a child. I wasn't aware of these things. I just liked it because it was, to me, a heartwarming movie because of the relationship the father had with his son. So I appreciated it for that. But then as an adult, after enduring all these things, I was like, okay, this is really cool because it reflects that. But now, as I realize even more about mass media and its implications, and this how it's putting us together, I'm not so sure I like it anymore, because in essence, what that movie was doing was, making it look cool to have divorces, to break up the
yeah,
home. Which I'm not a fan of.
yes. They break homes for no reason nowadays. Like they hurry up to get married, but then they have no problem in breaking the house. It's not like until the Lord separate them, separate their spirits. It's they die, one of them die or something. They break the marriage. No, they don't care about the kids even. They care about the wealth. You know, more about the wealth
Mm.
than the kids or their life together.
Yeah, I think that we used to, after divorce became popularized, um, we went from going into relationships thinking about whether or not we will get divorced to soon after thinking about when we'll get divorced. And then these days it's like marriage. I mean, I could be taken too far, but that's how it feels. Like now marriage is kind of passe. I
Yes.
could be wrong. Um, all right. Oh yeah, Interview with the Vampire, 1994. This was a cult classic. It was interesting in that it made secret vampire societies popular. Okay, so they had Dungeons and Dragons societies. They had all these people that would get together and dress up in medieval things and cast spells on each other and so on. But when Interview with the Vampire came out, all of a sudden that became popular to have secret societies that got together, pretended that they were vampires. It's kind of creepy, especially with the things that we see today. All the discussion of cannibalism, even which is a big theme in Hollywood, something they push over and over and over again. Like the anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Like the plane crash, how the people were on the top of a mountain. All they had to do was climb down the mountain. They would have found civilization, but instead they cannibalized each other. And then Hollywood made a movie about them and made them heroes for it. It's disturbing. Yeah, 1997, Boogie Nights. I hate to embarrass to admit, one of my guilty pleasures, one of my personal favorites. I liked it because one of the characters in it repented. He didn't like the lifestyle of being in the porn industry or the drugs and all that. And so he ended up walking away from it and having a normal life, which I appreciated. Found that redeeming. That being said, he was the black character and the only black character in the movie. Everyone else was evil. And so looking back at that movie now, I'm like, I got to wonder if that was subliminal too. Um, yeah, I mean, again, it popularized doing porn, which it wasn't the only one that did that, but we can see now that that's a big issue with all the streaming and all that, and with the youth getting involved in that too. Uh, yeah, and the whole penis envy, the emasculation thing. It made whatever his name was, I forgot now, John Holmes or something like that. Uh, you know, you've got to reach a certain level, let's say, a certain measurement. 1998, you've got mail. This, speaking of which, made it very popular to what I'm calling a digital mail order bride, to have a digital mail order bride, vice versa. Before that, even though a lot of people were doing it, they had the AOL, exchanges, ASL. Let me put in the chat. This was very common to see on AOL back in the day. AOL Live, age, sex, location is what that stood for. So immediately, AOL in the internet became a hookup, a means of people who don't even know each other to get together and do the nasty. Um, so yeah, before this movie, it was taboo to, like, it was kind of like, what, you met him online or met her online? What's wrong with you? But this movie romanticized that, made it cool.
This movie was a really great movie. I really liked it. Somehow it was good. Yeah, there is so many things in it, but it's a lovely movie.
Yeah.
Lovely movie.
I'm glad you're coming in with the counter of all my whole humness, but so keep doing that.
I'm trying not to cut off a lot, but
No, no, no. Please cut off. I think people need to hear the good things about these things too.
yeah, because let's say such a movie let's say you've got Mail. It's something you shouldn't miss. Everyone should watch it if you didn't. Or let's say Jesus of Nazareth, or so many movies you put like Godfathers. It's, let's say, in the Godfather, somebody will say, let's say his wife asked him, did you kill him, or so, tell her, I'll allow you to ask me this, to go into my affairs, this one, because he didn't allow her first. Yeah, and then he told her, okay, I will allow you this time to interfere in my business. And
Mm,
she asked him, did you? He said, no. And that's it. Everybody came and kissed his hand. So he killed him and everything. So you'll see the thing in the movie, like it's beautiful things. Yeah, you wouldn't see it in different movies. So this movie was really great, The Godfather. So
yeah,
some classic thing everybody should watch if you didn't. So yeah, lovely movie. Like
interesting.
so many movies you are putting in a row, they are really beautiful. I don't know, you select them per year as well. So that's lovely.
Yeah, they're
Beautiful.
honestly, like I said in the beginning slide, they were off the top of my head, just movies that came to my mind that were very influential at the time, at least, if not still to these days.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well done, brother. Well done.
Thank you. All right, so speaking of which, now we're at the turn of the century, 2000, Paid Forward. This movie was really influential in making charity a Ponzi scheme. In other words, you do good things because you're expecting something back, which I wasn't a big fan of from the get go. Um, and also leaving the single mom leaving the child with a stranger at home alone was, I mean, especially the actor who played that character, right? Now we know about him, Kevin Spacey. That guy always creeped me out. But anyway, with that weird smile of his. And 2004, The Passion of the Christ. Here, something positive. Here we go. They even brought believers closer to Jesus Christ, including myself. You know, I mean, E.T. made everyone cry, but Passion of the Christ, I mean, wow. It's a movie that was so powerful, it's hard to watch again. That's how
Yeah,
powerful it is.
and it has been boycotted a lot, like his latest movie, Freedom. What they call it? Both movies been boycotted a lot by the Jewish Hollywood industry. you know,
Yeah,
so in all countries, being this one being boycotted, it's really harsh, but it was really good, and it showed that the as much as possible the actual things what happened,
yeah,
but that's why they didn't want to show the fact. They want that soft version, like the first movie you show, Jesus of Nazareth, or some other
mhm,
movies similar to it.
yeah. No, I mean that's a great point, and yeah, I mean absolutely, yeah. I, it's interesting what they did to Mel Gibson too. I mean, he's a Hollywood powerhouse. I mean, director, actor, writer. He's done the whole nine. So, but even someone that well entrenched, that powerful, that rich and famous, his life was destroyed by uh, the Hebrews, the mass media moguls. Um, and his life was turned upside down. And then he went to disappearing for a while to now doing low budget B rated films, which is it's fascinating. They essentially made an example of him. It reminds me a little of others, but including Bill Cosby. Bear with me here. Bill Cosby went to prison recently as an old man for something he confessed to under duress, which is illegal, from decades ago. Okay, so there was an initial charge. That charge was dropped because it turned out to be a lie. Now, it wasn't even a settlement, which is usually the case, but a lie. She dropped it. To then them going for him something that they made him confess to 70 years ago under the terms that if he confessed to it, they would let him go, and they didn't, and they sent him to jail for years. Why did they do that? A couple of years before that, he made a speech to his own people from his alma mater about how they need to pull the pants up and have some integrity. And all of a sudden, and he made the same speech to other campuses. I saw a video of that too. Nobody criticized that because those weren't buzzworthy. They weren't predominantly black, and so they left that one alone. They didn't even mention that. So next thing you know, a couple of years later, the guy is guilty of whatever sexual crime and being sent to prison and turned his life upside down. And this is a man who started his career with a movie about a black family that moves out west to settle it after being freed as slaves. Who did so many other movies to help his people. Was the cleanest guy and criticized regularly for having clean comedy throughout his life. That paved the way for so many blacks. And he says some truth about having some integrity and doing well for yourself as a person, and all of a sudden he's made as public enemy and made an example of. This is horrendous, and this needs to be called out and stopped. 2005, Brokeback Mountain. It made the cowboy. All of a sudden, after this, cowboys were suddenly all gay. And of course, sodomy became normalized. It became romantic. Even this was I don't know if it was the first romantic uh, homosexual movie, but it was definitely one that again. By the way, going back to Interview with the Vampire, the movie Anne Rice. I'm sorry, the movie is based on a novel, what also did the same thing. And so with those groupies that loved Interview with the Vampire, they too were seeing a sodomy as a cool thing through the novel. Um, yeah, and then few years after this, we're being asked to be okay with, uh, well, let's legalize homosexual weddings because of the benefits, and that was going to be it allegedly. But we all knew what was coming next, and sure enough, here we are now. Uh, Sodomites are being prompted to kill Christians just for being Christian from the top down, and it's horrendous. 2007 Bucket List. Okay, you could say that's a war movie, but yeah, it really made passing away something finite and horrible. And it fed into the whole materialism thing, the hedonism and the nihilism and so on. You know, it's individualism. We got to hoard as much as we can while we're still alive and do as much as we can. You know, and take selfies and so on and so forth. Here I am in Italy, Facebook. So I don't know. I didn't like it in essence. All right, here we go. Finally,
Can I give a comment about it though?
please, please.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. I really liked it myself, but there were lots of things they made. Like we could speak for hours about it. You know, like antichrist, anti everything. you know in
Right.
that this movie there were so many things we could speak about it. We could make full episode about this movie. So I think yes, there is so many things we could, but it's good movie, like to watch. It's nice that it's nice, but there's so many things we can talk about. If you
Yeah,
want, we can talk about it another time.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I got to point out, naturally, I went 3 times as long as I hoped. I was shooting for 15 minutes, which I kind of knew was impossible, but I went about 45 minutes.
No,
So
no, you did very well. You did very well. I swear you did great. You did great job till now. You spoke about so many movies in short time. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
I hope this format wasn't too boring, too monotonous. You know, zipping through things. Something that's usually I go with the slides that are full of images, so everyone can kind of look at the same thing at once and make judgments on their own. But this format kind of helps me stay on track and stay away from all the tangents I like to go on. So that concluded our section on the most influential films in my mind. Um, yeah, if I left some out, please again in chat or in the comment section afterwards, and some ideas on what we should focus on as far as movie reviews. We got some really good ones. Book of Eli, The Patriot is another good one, and Postman Breakfast Gun is one of my favorites. It's kind of motivational.
Is this movie you put now is the one when he was what psychiatrist, and what's his name was he was what's his name? He was like he had the problems, and he was treating him. And is it this movie?
Um, so yeah, I mean, it basically, so
Matt
let
Damon.
me, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, it was Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Ben Affleck was his best friend.
I no, no, I'm not speaking about Ben Affleck. Yeah, 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 yeah. He was his best friend, and they used to come to take him to work every morning.
Right,
And
that's the one. Yeah,
one
yeah,
day he come. He said like he will knock on his door. He will never find him and stuff
yes,
like that. And that was the day that when that's it. He left, and they never found him. This is it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was a really good movie. This one. Somehow they spoke about those shrinks, that a different type of shrinks to deal with this kind of people. Somehow, yes, it's
You
nice.
know,
It's nice. Good movies.
yeah, yeah.
Good
I'm
movies.
glad you brought that up too. Actually, I've got criticisms about this movie, of course. Now in retrospect, it's still my favorite. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the whole idea that always bothered me how his best friend was celebrating the fact that he would never see him again. This does
Yes.
play into what's happening to us now and during the lockdown. We see, I mean, especially early on, so many people we're being depressed. We're depressed, of course, and that goes with isolation. Isolation is one of the biggest factors uh, for causing psychosis. So, yeah, a lot of people committing suicide and so on. It's horrible. And even to this day, people complaining about not having these social activities. I have so many students, America, China, and so on, that are complaining about how I don't have any friends and so on and so forth. I mean, it's an epidemic what the lockdown has done to us. This isolation and this sense that you meet an individual and so on and so forth. Even the movie in theaters right now, Madam Web, did a play on this really popular Spider-Man movie, which I like. Um, it's called yeah, it goes like well, what is it? Though those with power have great responsibility. I think that's a great movie line, and it was very
Yeah.
popular. But Madam Web right now is changing that to make it individualistic, and that um, how did they
Yeah.
put it? Those who take responsibility have great power. Those who
Yes.
take responsibility have great power. Completely flopped it around. In other words, it's saying, well, you know what? If you make it all about you, now you're powerful. Now you can be like Madam Web.
Yes. So this is the movie Dragon mentioned, Forrest Gump. Is good to speak about because it speak about bullying. It speak about those anyone antichrist, or let's say those living or people who are living on hash, and you
Yeah,
know. So it's speaking about so many things as well. So we can
yeah,
go for it too. It's long movie though.
yeah. Breakfast Club got another good one. Indiana Jones. I mean, the Lost Ark was the first one, so that in
Yes.
itself.
Yeah, it so many things like a breaking thing. Yeah, yeah, this one too.
Like my
Yeah.
mother said when I was young, movies never end. And she was right, unfortunately. So yeah, we have limitless things to talk about, but we want to hit the ones that most intrigue our audiences first.
Oh yes.
Um, yeah, so this remains my top favorite movie um, for personal reasons. A lot of popular lines came from this one. How You Like Them Apples is the most popular one. I'll End You, Chief is probably no one remembers, but it's a scene where the psychologist gets triggered by the Matt Damon character, the mischievous one, and so he loses his control, his composure, and he attacks him and threatens him for mocking his wife, his deceased wife. Um, I've got to go see About a Woman, right? So this line, I'm embarrassed to admit. Maybe you ladies don't want to hear that, but I was embarrassed to admit that I was inspired by this line in my youth. And yeah, it's basically saying, well, you know what? Everything else in the world doesn't matter. Your personal well-being even doesn't matter. Your financial situation, nothing matters. What matters is that you chase after a woman that you're attracted to. You know? So I don't know if I agree with that anymore. Um, yeah, one of the things that I do love about this movie, it talked about the bond, the interpersonal relationships that married people share, and their most intimate secrets, and how only they know about them, and therefore their bond is strengthened. And they really illustrated that in a let's call it an immature way, when the psychologist talks about how his deceased wife, and one of his favorite things that he remembered and endeared about her was how she farted in her sleep, and how she would blame the dog, and all he could do was laugh about it and say, yeah, yeah, it was a dog. But he said that's the good stuff. So in other words, yeah, I mean those secrets that only you leave yourself vulnerable to with the person that you can live with for the rest of your life and have that powerful bond as one body. That's what makes those relationships special. All right. Oh yeah. Let me go back here. Another line. Do you find it difficult to hide the fact that you're gay? Another favorite line of mine. He's the rebel is challenging one of the psychologists, and it goes on and on. And in fact, one thing, and this is relevant these days, something that's getting popularized is the dark room, going in and getting hypnotized and brainwashed so you can overcome things. This is starting to catch fire. It's a major problem. We're going more and more into our own heads, and losing touch with reality, and people are lining up for it. We have people in our own circles that are excited about the idea of getting a brain implant and how they're going to evolve because of that. Um, so yeah, I mean, this is an issue. I mean, I'm getting lost in my train of thought here, but it's a problem. It's a problem that needs to be addressed. We need to speak out about those things and save as many people as we can before they perish. My second all-time favorite is Braveheart. I got to say, I don't like gore, and Mel Gibson, he loves his gore. But with that being said, sorry, go ahead. Amir?
No, go ahead, go ahead. I will when you finish, I will speak.
No, I'm going to say that that that's one of my favorite movies, and of course, the very popular line when the movie ends with "freedom," like no matter what he endures and he's going through,
Yeah, there
that's
is so many points in this movie. It's like it show how bad, let's say, some stuff in it, some stuff happening for throughout history, or killing, or in killing, or in like taking others countries or stuff like that, or let's say what's happening between Muslims and taking like minorities, like in some countries, the Christians are raping women. That happened as well in the as they show, let's say, between England and Scotland and stuff, like let's say the leadership of that country was taking normal any woman to start, let's say, in her wedding, they used to take her the first night, uh, or stuff like that. It was showing so many things, but that actually happening in the Islamic world, that they are raping women. They are taking our ladies, are taking them even without a wedding or anything. They just simply take them, So it shows so many facts that's happening in a way, like it happened, actually happened. So you see that always Mel Gibson, they come with different topics, different things, and it's good, really good topics, I think. So it was excellent movie, this one. And with of course with the love story too, you know
mm.
it is really good. I think it was a great movie.
I got to point out again. I'm just being a realist here, but about that love story, it did two things. It was attacking traditionalism, which is another theme mass media does. It pushes, traditionalism is bad, modernism is good. Um, in the sense that she had an arranged wedding that she didn't want, and of course, her husband is queer, so that's a problem for her. But the other thing it did was, I mean, now it was talking about extramarital. I mean, yeah, I mean, basically, this was an extramarital affair, and
Yes,
so yeah, so that part is a bit problematic for me.
like, didn't get that. Can you go back to it, please?
Like, yeah,
What?
basically, the main character Mel Gibson is having an affair with a princess, right? She's married into the royalty, so but she's married, and there's no divorce yet. I understand there's marital problems, which even traditionally, I could be wrong. I can't remember about the canons what this says specifically on this matter, but I'm guessing
Yes,
that would be okay. Even
and
go ahead.
they introduced that she is married to a gay
Right.
uh, prince, never touched her. So, and she's a French. They showed how racist about French. They show that he is a gay. They show that when she saw a manlyhood, she came running into his between his arms somehow. She saw that he can stand for a cause or something. I think it's somehow it's not about religion or anything in here. It's about like how life it will like he was mourning as well. He forgot being comforted by her. So
Mm.
the combination doesn't work. I do understand you, but they are showing different type of things, that's
Mhm.
to complete the movie. To go.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's like it's definitely it was playing on things that we can all relate to, give or take, and I understand that, but this situation, I mean, is definitely, let's call it imperfect. It's problematic, and that is promoting extramarital affairs because the wife is in a bad relationship that's sexually unsatisfying, and because he's lonely. I mean, I don't think that's good reason to have sex in a tent in the woods, far away from your husband, right?
Your main problem is that then they should have it just under a tree or something. Yeah. Moonlight and everything. You like
Yeah,
romantic stuff. I know you. I
yeah.
know you. Anyway,
He,
guys,
Mel,
guys, I tell you, Damien, we will be speaking about Muhammad tomorrow. We'll try to make to arrange a live stream about Muhammad, so don't be worried about it. It's a beautiful Muhammad. You said beautiful Muhammad. Let's show your comment. So we'll be speaking about Muhammad.
Damien, I'm taking this personally now.
Damien.
This is well, let me interject. Forgive me. I'm taking this personally. It's hard not to. I've
Why?
noticed that you're on other movie streams, Damien, and you didn't mention them not talking about Islam, and they weren't talking about Islam. So you're on other movie streams, not complaining about them not talking about Islam, but you're here doing it repeatedly. Why? I got to call you out, brother. Why are you doing this to me?
No,
All
no,
right,
no.
so
Damien,
please stop.
Damien is good guy. He's good guy. He's good guy.
I'm
No
sure he's a
worries.
good guy, but no, we're going too far with that.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
again, we are talking about Islam, and he's still complaining about it. So, Damien, please stop.
Yeah. We'll be talking about Muhammad anyway. Suggest some topics anyway. No, keep going about your subject. It's lovely, lovely movies you are putting.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
we will be calling you to come up to all of you, yeah, whoever in the chat, to come up and give us your opinion about the movies he gave, and give us your comments. You can speak. I will be putting link in the chat, like that you can come up with us and talk. Yeah. Of course, for short period, because we don't want to let the live stream go for long. So each of you can come up, talk, give his comments for a little bit, and come out, go, like we'll make it like that. Go ahead, please, brother, go ahead,
Okay.
continue.
So, yeah, I mean, another thing, speaking of prejudice, was the movie line where the king goes, "The problem with Scotland is that there are too many Scots," with a very British arrogance. So, okay, I
Are you
mean,
saying sorry, are you saying there is too many Scots in Scotland?
and I'm not saying that at all. Yeah. So, yeah, sorry. What I am saying though is that I think this kind of fit into this whole anti-British sentiment. Like, the British are horrible people, the French are this way, the British are that way. So it kind of it triggered kind of like bad emotions toward, this elitist British kind of thing. I'm not discrediting that, but I don't think it's okay to create this trope, this anti-British trope either. Um, how do you feel about the current situation? This is where that same king, the evil guy, is throwing the queer boyfriend out the window, his son's boyfriend out the window, because he keeps butting in and he gets annoyed. He's like, you know what, that's enough, and he kills the guy. Um, that's problematic too, for obvious reasons. Christians rebuke sin. We don't like sodomy, and that includes for heterosexuals, by the way. I mean, sodomy is sodomy, whether you're, homosexual, bisexual, or heterosexual. Thank you, Willis. You rock. Yeah, the support we get, I greatly appreciate. Um, so yeah, but we're not definitely. I don't think Christians generally say kill a homo. That's just not a reality. I think that's a mass media fabrication. And I've spent a lot of years in the quote unquote South. So even there, that's not even a thing. In fact, the Southerners, with the whole gay marriage thing, they were for it. Like, well, what's the problem with gay people getting benefits, right? So, and, anyway, yeah, we got to be careful about what how our attitudes are being influenced, is what I'm saying. Another thing, speaking of sodomy, and I know heterosexuals, this is another one that promoted sodomy. I mean, for the first movie, Good Will Hunting, was an emasculating moment where he he's with his girlfriend and they're in bed together, half naked. He might be allegedly fully naked, and they're under the covers and they're talking about whatever life after they just did whatever they did. And he's basically at that time, at the moment while he's talking, he's going down on her. So this is kind of promoting sodomy, but also, of course, emasculating. Like if you, one of the things with The Sopranos, for example, was like, oh, men don't go down on a woman. We don't do that, right? And so this has been a big argument, a big fabricated argument in mass media. Whether or not a man should go down on a woman, whether or not sodomy should be a thing. Um, yeah, but later in Sopranos, I got to mention that they went from that to all the characters all of a sudden being gay years later. So that's kind of interesting. We see the emasculation theme regularly throughout, including, of course, the promotion of sodomy in all of its forms. One of the lines I liked about this movie, too, just like Freedom, was at the very end from the guy who portrayed William Wallace in the movie, at least, to him cheering on, like trying to raise the spirits of people fighting oppression, like saying, you braved with William Wallace, now brave with me. It was kind of inspiring. I also got to point out how the movie starts. I didn't write that down, but this movie begins with Mel Gibson talking about how, again, a lot of people say this, how history is written by the victors. And we all say this now after this movie. That's a very good point. And that's what we're addressing here too. All right. My third favorite of all time. This actually changed. It used to be Pulp Fiction, but I couldn't make excuses for Quentin Tarantino anymore, particularly a few years ago when he was an apologist for pedophilia. Okay, for one of the movie directors and all that. And he was like, "Oh, come on, let's be real. She was asking for it," is what he said. So when hearing that, I was like, "Okay, that's enough." But really, even before that, I had enough of his movies from Crazy Eights when he had the horrendous, yet another homo rape scene that was done in a way that's just extremely questionable, just like in Pulp Fiction and others. So I just had enough of Quentin Tarantino, and I had to knock this out of my third favorite, Pulp Fiction. But yeah, some of my favorite lines from this movie is "Do you think so?" and I actually made a soundbite using that. Another one is a more popular one when he's berating this stranger, John Candy's character. He's had enough and he's like ripping into him. He's going, "You're like a Raggedy Ann doll, except if nobody pulls a string, you'll do it for them." So, which is horrible. It's horrible, but it's funny the way he does it. And another scene later in the movie is when they're traveling. Steve Martin falls asleep. John Candy's driving. He's the klutz and all that. So the comic relief, and he's always doing the wrong thing and being ragged on for it. Anyway, so they're driving down the freeway late at night, and someone starts yelling to them from the other side of a concrete barrier, "You're going the wrong way." He's like, "What? You're going the wrong way?" They're screaming. And Steve Martin wakes up. He's like, "What's going on?" He's like, John Candy says, "I don't know. They say we're going the wrong way." He just like, Steve Martin thinks about it. He's like, "Wait a minute. How do they know where we're going?" "Oh, they're just drunk. They're idiots." And John Candy's turning on, "Thank you. Thank you." And he starts doing the drinking out of a bottle, hand gesture and all that. Meanwhile, they're actually on the wrong side of the freeway, driving straight toward oncoming traffic. So I thought that was a bit symbolic of some of us, at least at some points in our lives, where people trying to warn us, "Hey, you're going the wrong way," and then we just kind of write them off for silly reasons. Oh yeah, and then another really popular one. It's one that I can't quote here. There's a lot of f-bombs in there, but it's essentially Steve Martin's gone through all this craziness. He's gotten away from John Candy. He's at an airport, and his rental is not where it's supposed to be. So he goes back. He has to walk through the terminal, almost dying in the process. Um, and then he's waiting in line forever, and the person behind the counter is talking on the phone, being all bubbly and cutesy, and he's annoyed. And so he goes up there, and she goes, "Can I help you?" And he goes, "You can start by wiping that smile off your effy rosy cheeks, and I want an F car with the F this and the F that and F that, all wrapped into one." And she goes, "Well, do you have your receipt?" He goes, "No." And she goes, "Oh no." He goes, "Oh no, what?" She goes, "You're effed." So anyway, um, yeah, one of my personal favorite movies, and I really like it on a personal level because it's endearing. It's about a guy who is also a widower, lonely, not, the personality wise, not someone you want to be around. He's always doing the wrong thing, but he doesn't want to. He's embarrassed to talk about that, so he doesn't let on. He pretends that he's still married, and later the Steve Martin character realizes it and ends up inviting him to his home for the Thanksgiving dinner that they finally get to after all these trials. So it's a bit heartwarming, good holiday movie. Um, yeah, and that's all I got to say about that. Groundhog Day is another honorable mention for me, as good as it gets, even though as good as it gets is really promoting sodomy, among other things, emasculation and OCD and all that stuff. But so I don't know about that one. Groundhog Day, I love.
Yeah, but you cannot deny as good as it gets is really good.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter speak about the waitress and the fag and stuff like that, but it's really good.
yeah. I mean, by fag, you mean cigarette, the British cigarette. Yeah, just clarifying.
No,
For,
no, no. He
for, for,
meant he meant the guy. He meant the
oh
guy.
yeah, he said he called him that. You're right. You're right. Throughout the movie, I forgot about that.
So he thought that he was introducing them to each other.
Wow, that's right. Wow.
So
Yeah,
waitress, what's her name? Whatever, what was his name? The waitress, and he
Carol.
introduced him back. So basically, the guy basically.
Wow.
So he was introducing them by each one. What does he do? Yeah. So the guy didn't say that he's a painter. Let's say he said no, the fag.
Wow.
So it was somehow it was.
Yeah. Great movie. There's a lot of great lines, a lot of great moments in that movie for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, it
Um,
was good.
Groundhog Day is another one. It's a powerful movie. My favorite scene is it's really spiritual in the sense that all these things going on without getting. I mean, we could probably do a review on this too. I don't know if it's or I don't know. Regardless, the scene where he's trying to turn his life around and do good things, and he sees the homeless person, which he completely ignores regularly. Oh, and by the way, speaking of promoting other channels, I think if I remember correctly, or at least you mentioned it. It was John Newton and Yo Bro in Christ. They did. I think they did a stream on this, and he talked about it too. It's a really good point, or at least in chat. I can't remember. Anyway, at any rate, basically what happens is, even though, let's say, the main character has these godlike powers, let's say, he can manipulate reality. He realizes that it's all horrible and all that. And this homeless man that he keeps ignoring throughout the movie, suddenly he becomes invested in helping the guy out, and he starts doing all these things that he can, feeding him and bathing him and trying to give him a normal life to help him out. But the old man ends up passing away anyway. So um, and he's like, no, you're not going to die on my watch. He goes, and he starts running him to the hospital to save him, and then of course, medical science is limited, and so on and so forth. And so, at the end of the day, regardless of everything that he tries, he finds that he's powerless against mortality. So, I think that was a powerful learning moment in the movie where we can learn and realize that you know we can only do our best, and that's one. As you guys might have gathered, I'm definitely someone who tries to do too much. So that's definitely something I got away from in that movie, and I really appreciate. Okay, so maybe we should do a stream on this by itself. What do you guys think? Should we do a stream or should I cover this right now? Pulp Fiction and what it means and how it's spiritual. Maybe we should leave it. I think we're going to do a stream on this alone. I think it's worth it. I will say that the movie has a linear story that it talks about miracles and their impact on lives or denouncing miracles and how that leads to blaspheming the Holy Spirit and a life of condemnation within itself. So there's some good things, some good redeeming value out of this movie. It's why it was my third favorite for a while until I had enough of Tarantino. Other honorable mentions, um, The Dead Zone, which was a guy who was in an accident, kind of like Madam Web is on the movie theaters right now. Very similar. I believe they stole that, in fact, from this movie, The Dead Zone. Um, so basically, he's prophetic. He can see the future, um, and that's making him ill. Um, yeah, but after watching this movie, people were like, "Well, being psychic kind of became popular in my mind. I could be wrong, but I think it had an impact on people." The Dead Zone. Dreamscape was not as popular, maybe more of a cult classic, but it was about people through science being able to enter other people's dreams. There's a dream thing again. And so it was both telepathic and this whole dream world thing, which, yeah, I'm not a fan of. It's going, again, along the lines of this whole transhumanism and living in your head kind of ordeal. It's kind of promoting that, making it cool. Because there's two people, the villain and the hero, and they both had that ability, among others. The never, yeah, yes. The never-ending story, 1984. We must keep our heads in the clouds, not be fascist, which is something that, again, was being pushed very much these days. And what I mean by that, if those have watched Neverending Story and the sequel and whatnot, very popular in youth. Basically, the main character loves reading books. Yay, promoting book reading. All right. Um, but then through book reading, he goes into this fantasy land and he actually is there. Next thing you know, he's really there. These people in this fantasy land, their reality is falling apart. And so it's up to him to save it, to save this world. He's got to go, all through all these adventures. And he realizes the solution to this world not falling apart is to still believing in a fantasy. If you believe in a fantasy, then everything will be okay. And it's like, yes, I got to believe it. I got to believe it is, the wind starts blowing, nature starts coming in, trying to distract him from it, but he's not allowing it. And the next thing you know, he's the hero because now he believes in fantasy. So that kind of thing, that kind of mindset is kind of pushed again over and over again, but especially in that movie. All right. So in conclusion, we are all impacted by mass media, including Hollywood. Hollywood is generational influence, which I'm trying to demonstrate through things that you can see for yourself in my regular format. I include timestamps so you can go watch for yourself and not just take my word for it. Yeah, and then even if you don't watch movies, even if you're not on the internet, which if you're with me right now, you're on the internet at least. All these things. If you don't watch television, you don't listen to the radio. Even if you don't read, if you're not into media at all whatsoever, you're still being impacted by it because someone, if not everyone around you, is. So even in that scenario, you're still being impacted by its conditioning. Long story short. So what's in store for us next? As I mentioned, I'm not sure a video if we have time. How actually I don't need to show a video. Come to think of it, it's just basically how AI is taking over the creation aspect of things. Basically before it was the industrialization, the robots and how they're taking over blue collar jobs and we won't have jobs, and we're seeing that more and more. But also now the white collar jobs, the creator and so on and so forth. AI is taking over those jobs. So what's the end? And it's not just about economy; it's about survival. And what's being fed to us, and by the way, again with the Ron DeSantis Florida government, protection of algorithms, absolute protection. Not, set legal presence for that by state law. Um, yeah, I mean that's a real problem. I mean they can basically do whatever they want, and they have no accountability whatsoever. And again, what the lockdown did to us, it forced us into this, this live in your head kind of never-ending story. And it's a problem, especially where it leads us, takes us away from Christ, attacks Christianity, and it promotes all this pagan stuff, including Islam. A silent voice is anime. What I'm starting to see here, and this is my own theory. I don't hear it too much. I hear it a little bit, not too much. Is the whole BRICS association. You know how these petrol nations, Brazil, what is it? Brazil, Russia, India, China. What does that stand for? Forget. Anyway, so yeah, they're basically taking over economically, but also media. I mean, Sony has taken over Disney as major influence on Disney and other industries. But there was going to be a buyout that was stopped by the government. But I haven't heard too much about it. But the murmurs are there's a lot of influence in Sony. But does it really? Do they really have to have? I mean, Pixar, like all the CGI. I mean, you look at the credits and who's doing all that. I mean, who's controlling these things? And that's from within. Now we're talking about being supplanted. How Paramount. I mean, there's another lawsuit for Disney. Disney's, Marvel's has another flop in the theaters right now. So one of the biggest economic bastions for the U.S. is falling apart from within, but maybe also from without, from influenced by BRICS. And one of the things that are taking up that space is manga, anime, Bollywood is starting to get out there a bit more. So it's a problem. I mean, and then I mentioned here, I threw in the China syndrome. I mean, there's movies that are being made or that were made that address good things. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's problematic. People like whether you like the movie industry or not, and as you guys know how I feel about it, it's a problem when something even worse is taking over. I mean, the patterns have not changed. In fact, you see from this image, they've gotten worse. We're all attached to media in one way or another. Most of our waking moments. So whether or not we're waiting for a Discord beep, China, or TikTok argument, which everyone is being pushed to migrate toward there for some reason, whatever. I mean, it's problematic. Do we really want these people in control? Again, remember the young boy who cutesy, smart, loved me to death, but still wanted to kill me because I'm not Chinese. I mean, it's very real. Again, you've seen Farfor, and I mean, this the whole nine, how the children are being used as the grassroots movements for a fascist end. We need to be vocal about it. We need to fight back. Hold our local government officials accountable. Hold media accountable, including anime. I mean, look at this scene from A Silent Voice. These are two kids making it in a classroom. This is what children are watching. Again, I had an own incident. Um, I'm going to be saying too much here, but when I was watching a young child, we were watching Avatar, The Last Airbender, a cartoon together. And in the scene, the Avatar kisses the girl, or the girl kisses Avatar. It's probably the other way around. And so she felt compelled to tilt her head and, with a mouth agape, move toward me. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So it's not like these movies don't have influence, even cartoons. They do. But the anime manga stuff is, if you think Hollywood's bad, where do you get a load of that stuff? I mean, we're talking about a culture, and in the movies that they're, again, promoting paganism. It's all about the demons and about nature. And there's no Christ in it. So there's a planted Christ with that stuff. Be wary. All right, folks. Hour and a half. That's all I got for you today. Who's coming up to tell us and share with us?
All right. The link is in the chat. I will post it again. If any one of you would like to talk about any movie our brother just shared, so many movies he spoke about, or if you have a favorite movie to talk about, just uh, just go ahead. Please click on the link and come up with us. Yeah, just click on the link, please. Doesn't have to
Um,
be in.
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was telling them that it doesn't have to be an English movie.
Yeah.
Anything in their own language as well. It could be good as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like to hear what you guys. I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be one of the movies we talked about. One of the movies that you watched that's your favorite or most influential, or a movie that you didn't like. What is the name of film after movie Braveheart? Let's go back. I don't remember. Braveheart was 90 something, I believe. 95.
It was all times favorite.
Oh, thank you.
No, plans, trains, and automobiles, automobiles, something. Yeah, plane, trains, and automobiles. All times favorite. Third. Yeah, this is the one.
Yeah, I really like that movie. Another one of my favorite personal favorites, and it's actually interesting. It was made by Canon Films. They made another film for Israel exactly like that, except they kind of, let's say, translated it into English when they had their um, their production studio. By the way, Canon Films is no longer around. It was taken up and transformed. But these were Israelis that revolutionized how movies were made for a long time. Let's say by getting investors to invest into the movie before the movie was even made. So they're very good at raising funds for movies that were, let's call it B-rated. A lot of them were influential. A lot of them were pretty good, but most of it was just junk. Um, but yeah, the movie was called what was it, The Last American Virgin. So again, I was pretty young back then, but it was another movie that was about abortion and how this one actually promoted abortion in the sense that the movie character was a tool. He was a cuckold, um, and he falls in love with this girl who his best friend, who's a sleaze, has relationships with, and then she gets pregnant, and then he ditches her because men are horrible. Um, and so what's she gonna do? She's a young teenager with a baby. So that, of course he saves up the money. He gets the loans and all this other stuff to get all this money to have an abortion with her secretly. This girl that's in love with her, the uh, the cuckold, the main character, the last American virgin. Um, and so they go and have the abortion, and he brings in the original version lemon something other, lemon ice. I forgot what it's called, but um, you see a gift that's very cultural in that it was kind of offensive, but in the American version, if I remember correctly, the gift he brings to her after the abortion was a bag of oranges and a Christmas tree. Um, which think about it, a Christmas tree to a girl who just had an abortion. Let that sit on for a second. A bag of oranges, it turns out, is kind of a Hebrew um, cultural gift, a housewarming gift. Bringing fruit is as a housewarming gift. So he's bringing a housewarming gift and a Christmas tree. Extremely, extremely blasphemous, insanely so. It's an abortion. Think about that. And that's Hebrew Hollywood in a nutshell. But in the 21st century, again, let me emphasize that I believe that BRICS has taken over. That the Hebrews who created Hollywood literally and have managed it, micromanaged it for so long, fighting censorship. Imagine all the stuff that has passed, the scenes and the things that were not allowed. Can you imagine if the Hebrews had free reign, what society would be like already? Thank God that we have some success, that we fight back and we at least inhibit or stall some of their quote unquote progress. But I suspect that at least since the '90s and on, these BRICS associations have slowly taken over. We know that Muslim money is funding a lot of media. We know that again, the CGI and all that. Sorry. Japan
No,
is
go
great
go ahead.
influences, so forth. I think it's significant. I think it's important that we realize, okay, I think that the Hebrews have created a golem, but in 21st century they may have lost control of that golem that they created.
Yeah. Anyone would like to come up with us to speak about those movies? Just press on the link and come up. Uh, just give us your opinion, give us your favorite movie, anything you'd like. Sister Dragon, welcome. God bless you.
You surprised, brothers. I was uh, I was listening carefully, and I want to thank Brother Nicodemus for his research and for all his input. Because if you watch certain movies for a very long time, or let's say if you're very young, you don't watch that deep. If you don't watch those movies again, you don't think too much until you watch as an adult, I would say. So certain things you don't even notice what is behind, what is the background, and let's say hidden agenda behind, hidden symbols or something like that you don't see as very young. So that you look into that very carefully and present that um, on this way, I think is excellent work, brother.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you and to say definitely you deserve more viewers.
Wh-
So I hope we will gain more people to see that, God willing.
Thank you. Thank you. Which movie was your favorite out of all?
I didn't have let's say a lot. I was not how should I say? It was not my favorite um, to watch movies, but I watched a lot. For example, the first movie that I watched in how it's called in English, movie theater, yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
cinema. The first movie was I was watching it with my father and my sister, and that was yeah, I don't know if you remember that. It was Footloose.
Oh yeah. Wow. What a great choice. I forgot all about that one. Wow. Talk
So
about influential.
yeah, that was the first movie that I watched. You know,
What would you say about that one? Looking
I
back.
don't looking back because I watched I was I cannot say clearly. I think I was 15, something like that. It's long time ago, but probably I was around 15, 14, 15. Um, I like it actually, but you cannot I like to dance
Mm.
when I was young. And I like that kind of music, so disco music. Because it was really music back then. Now we don't have real music, so that's why I think I liked it very much. I liked the
Mm.
Bill Cosby show, for example, and I liked Footloose back then. And like, for example, Sister Act, I watched it.
Mm.
I like to watch, and a movie that I really like, but it's not a Hollywood movie. I forgot even the name. It is a French movie. Um, what was the name? I forgot. It is one paralyzed guy and one dark-skinned man that is his nurse, let's say. I
Oh
forgot
yeah.
what's the name. I forgot
Awakenings.
something
Awakenings.
best friend or something. I forgot what was the
I'm
original
thinking.
name.
I was thinking of the movie with Robin Williams where
No, no,
he's.
no, 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 no. That was not Robin Williams. It is a French movie. What I'm saying.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not Hollywood movie, but it was really excellent movie. I like more, let's say, light movies where I can watch. Let's say, I see not a lots of movie now that you can watch with all family. You know,
Mm.
I never like movie when you let's say you are not able to watch with your parents or with your children. I'm more like a family family
Yeah.
woman, like a Prince of Bel-Air, for example.
Yeah.
That was always funny. I like that
Uh,
the series, or as I said, so light movies. So it's more like this because it was not even, you know, it was earlier very long a communist country, and I think where I was born. So when they
oh
start
wow.
to get more freedom, so it was let's say pretty good. I was lucky that my family was let's say pretty neutral because they learned that through many wars. So they keep
Mhm.
neutral always, but they remain Orthodox Christian despite everything. So not a single one of us was a member of Communist Party, despite of everything.
Mm.
So we celebrate. We went to church. Even I was punished even as a child. So it's a weird time. That's why I get blood pressure 200 if someone say communism is a good regime
Which
to
we hear a
live.
lot these days. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're
Another
cruel.
rhetoric. Sorry. I was gonna say another rhetoric I hear often now is how it's the new communism that's going to save the world. That old communism was the problem, but now we have the new communism, which is what
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
what every
Reformation, like
sorry.
reformation of Islam, it will be reformation of communism,
It's the
something like
same,
that.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
same
yeah,
stupidity. Yeah,
yeah.
same
That's a
stupidity.
that's a great stupidity. But again, I like that movie. It was one of my favorite, Footloose.
Mm.
And I
Uh,
like a lot Dirty Dancing because I like to
yeah.
watch Patrick Swayze. I like
Yeah.
that.
He was
That's
good.
too bad.
He was
So
I
good
much
one.
like
crushing
that
on Swayze. I hear
actor.
you.
Yeah, I like that because he was some kind of positive and
Yeah.
humble man. So I like to watch him.
Yeah.
And I like, for
You.
example, Matt Damon. I like to watch that
Yeah.
actor. But
I hear you, Miss Crush. The
Uh,
I'm
crush. We got a list now of the Hollywood actors you got a crush on. It was Matt Damon.
no, no, not really.
Patrick Swayze.
I didn't find him. No, it
I,
was not
I,
even. It was not
go ahead.
even one that I found.
I'm
Let's
just picking
say
on you.
no.
These.
I know, but I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
So it was
Let.
not. I was never like that. I never understood that girls go on a concert and they scream and they cry because they see who is he? I mean, who is
Yeah, that
he?
is weird. That's a bit
Uh,
much.
I
Yeah,
never
so
understood such impact. So, no, it was not. It was not my. I'm let's say old school. I like to listen Beatles, and I like, for example, certain actor, but it's not. I watch a lot of.
Mm.
It was earlier
uh,
VHS,
all of
VHS.
my life. Don't you want that? No, no. Guys, why don't you press on the link and come up with us? Tell us about your favorite movie or whatever our brother show us. Tell us what you picked
No,
on, what do you like, what you think, what's your thought. So just press on the link and come up with us, please. All right?
Yeah. That.
please join. But as I said already, when I first watched that movie, I think it was a birthday of some of
Mm.
my cousin, I think, and then they put the fog uh, to watch everyone and then I thought to myself, I mean, why we need such stupidity, you know? And I find it some kind of and I was never a fan of horror movies, so I never understood why people watch that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. My cousin finds funny to scare everyone with the fog, so he put the fog. I
Yeah.
found scary back then because
Yeah.
I
You
was
know.
young.
Yeah. I mean, so many horror movies definitely influenced me. And again, all these movies that I've showed were, some of my absolute favorites, especially back then. But some I still like. But I'm glad that you brought up was it the Dirty Dancing movie? Not Dirty Dancing, but Footloose movie. You know, looking back, that movie was basically feeding into that trope about how horrible Christians are, how controlling they are, how fascist they are, all these things. Because Christians don't like music, and we can't have music. And if if you listen to music, you're going to be treated horribly by the cops. That's what that movie was about. So it was about a youth of rebellion against Christians.
Let's say it's twisted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. But as I said, you see a lot of things in the other way. If you have let's say if you have a certain age. For example, I was scared when I first time saw in black and white The Birds from
Oh
Alfred
yeah,
Hitchcock. Yeah.
another great one. We're all scared, terrified of birds after that movie. Great
Yeah,
choice.
so when I watched that a lot of mercy, I thought to myself, that's so scary because I was very young when I don't even know, but I was very young because I think if I watched it and the first time was shown on TV, and back then I think my father has still a black and white TV, so
Mm.
I found this pretty scary, that movie. Then after many years, I watched it again on TV, and I thought to myself, "This is what I was scared,
Yeah,
really?"
I'm
So
glad you had that experience because I got to admit, I to this day, when I see a flock of birds, I still get scared.
no, I don't have fear, but the worst thing there was music. Because of
Now,
music, it was many people found it so scary.
do you
And
also,
and and not I don't remember. I think it was also Alfred Hitchcock, but I forgot what was the name. When the son was I don't want to say the word, unalive the mother, and was holding her in basement. Oh, I forgot. I think it was also Hitchcock movie. I forgot the name. If I remember, I will tell you. I think
you
it's also
know,
Hitchcock movie. So
Yeah.
if you watch that as very young, you get scared because he concentrated a lot of right music in right moment,
Mm.
yeah,
Alfred Hitchcock.
Hitchcock movies are really good, really good. So many of them are scary though, but
Yeah.
yeah, but the one of them, let's say the man no too little. I think it's good. I like, and by the way, this is I'm putting now the movie, the first one, because you mentioned the one you saw in the cinema or theater, whatever you saw,
Footloose,
and this is,
Footloose.
yeah, and this is my first movie I saw in the cinema ever.
Wow.
Mine
Yeah,
too.
ever. This
Mine
one,
too, yeah. My
Bruce Lee,
father, yeah,
Enter the
my
Dragon.
really,
Enter the
my
Dragon. It was my first movie ever.
I haven't watched that. My first was the Footloose, and my father, we get dressed pretty, and my father was with us in a movie theater, and he was so proud, and
Mhm.
he went there with two daughters.
What about your movie, Nicodemus? Which one was your favorite first movie ever
Oh,
in the
the
cinema?
first movie that I ever watched? Whoa,
Yes,
that's a
in
hard
cinema.
one. I don't remember. The first one that I remember is E.T., but I don't
E.T.
know if that was my first one or not.
Yeah, you don't remember in cinema which movie it was, yeah?
I was raised on television and movies, so in theater,
Yes, yes.
whenever I could. Yeah, so
I
I don't.
Now,
remember, I
now,
remember, I was
guys,
crying a river. I was crying a river with E.T.
write for
Again,
us which movie it was was your first movie in cinema. Write for us down which movie it was your first movie in cinema. Yeah,
yeah.
just write it down.
Yeah, so Breakfast Club and Damien, they're talking about another one that's another cult classic with a wrestler who's passed away. They Live, and it's really popular because it talks about the lone voice in the wilderness kind of thing. How um, you can see things that other people can't see, and you're trying to warn everyone, but everyone thinks you're crazy. It's that kind of dynamic. So it's really cool. But at face value, it's also promoting the idea that there's aliens and aliens are living among us, and you got to be careful because who's the alien? Which is another sentiment we're hearing these days.
Yeah. Damien said His first movie was Mr. Bean, Travel to America. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Good. Mr. Bean. Funny guy.
I I love to watch the earlier, so very old movies, like for example Casablanca,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
or Lawrence from Arabia. Yeah,
Wow.
I like the old movies. So
Yeah,
I'm
those
And
were.
that weird weird person.
No, 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 no. They're really nice. They were really nice movies. You know,
yeah, you know, we'll do movies reviews on things like
Superman movie.
Lawrence. Yeah.
It
Lawrence of
was.
Arabia too.
Yeah. Breakfast Gun said the first movie it was by his uncle. He took him to the cinema, and it was Superman movie.
Mm.
That's Superman movie. Yeah,
That's another great one. Christopher Reeves. I mean, that Superman character was an excellent alpha male character. Something.
the best one.
Only Superman I was able to watch was with Christopher Reeve. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was the best one, best character. Yeah, ever.
And it's found it interesting that one of his last movies, if not his last movie, he played a paraplegic who was involved in murder. I can't remember if it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, in bed, and he was solving the murders and stuff like that. It was so good. It was
Mm.
so good. I
But
love that.
it's ironic what happened to him in life after that when he actually became paraplegic and passed away. It's kind of weird. It's kind of creepy.
Did he play it before or after he became?
I think he was paralyzed already when
Yes.
he played that movie.
Oh,
He was
really? I didn't know
paralyzed.
that.
I think so. I think so because he had an accident. I think he fall down from horse or something.
Mhm.
I think that was so. That on that way he broke his spine and was paralyzed with all his body. He wasn't able to move anything, and I think he made that movie after that. So he was paralyzed already, as I right remember. I'm not
Mm.
sure, but I think he was already. And then he was in that state for a very long time. And I found very sad because I like to watch him. And when you have in your mind how fit he was in that movie and everything, and then you see him in that state. So it was pretty devastating to see something what, let's say, illness or accident can do to a body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
he also. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that Protestant also mentions Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, the Beatles movies, which was a thing too. Elvis movies and Beatles movies they were really big back then too. Did you
Yes.
did you get to watch any movie Elvis movies in the movie theater?
No, not me.
Not me.
Yeah.
Again,
Also,
thank you for great presentation and all your research, brother. Thank you
thank you.
both.
Yeah, pleasure. As far as growing the channel, I get excited and I started
Okay.
advertising a bit the stream this week. I was hoping to get a good crowd so we can have a good, healthy discussion about everyone's favorites and most influential and all that. But I'm still having tech woes. I got yet another splitter. I'm able to use two monitors now, but it's only showing the same thing. So I'm going to need another week or two to order yet another splitter to get things running more smoothly yet. And the sound, I'm now back to the first device that I use, which is a headset. But I'd like to go ahead and get a professional mic
We
for
have a
this.
lucky guy, by the way. We have somebody who saw Elvis live in 1970.
Wow.
Wow, we really have.
Wow, brother, respect.
Yeah, envy for sure.
Exactly,
Wow.
respect. Yeah, he saw the king.
I'd like
Yeah.
to invite, I mean, we keep it saying invite to come up, but I've never seen the movie The Stuff. I'm not intrigued by it. If Breakfast Club is willing to come up and give us a quick synopsis of that, I'd appreciate it. I'm really curious now. Um, let's take a look at it. All right, I'm looking. So let me share the International Movie Database. Let's see what it says about it. Sh-
We should end up the stream shortly. You know
okay,
that.
sure.
So don't like that. We'll not keep it over 2 hours.
Okay. All right. I'm just giving him the opportunity to come up if you'd like. I'd really like to hear about this movie. Honestly, I'm not familiar with it, but it looks
Yeah.
intriguing. Um, all right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm good. Like we're,
No, no, keep going. Why you are not sharing it? Why
oh,
you don't want?
oh, you want me to keep sharing?
I'm
All right.
sorry, I didn't say that to stop you.
All right. Well, I
No,
mean,
no.
yeah, I think that's all I've got. I mean, I really wanted to hear from the audience what they experience. We're getting stuff in stream, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. But yes, and I appreciate Dragana coming up and sharing her stories with us, especially bringing back to memory Footloose and how much of a
Uh,
cultural influence that had, apparently
you
worldwide.
absolutely. You should have seen that. It was a because it is a small city, so it was not a huge city. And a movie theater, it was small if you, but it was the biggest there. When you watch now the big huge cinema theaters with, I don't know how many people there, yeah. And it was really full, and I'm not sure it was, I think, one of the first movie after they renewed the building and everything, so it was so many people and everyone was singing and dancing and stand up. It was pretty
Mm.
funny.
Protestant believers bringing up some really good points, and you are too, Dragon, about the music and its influence. I was a DJ for a minute, and I learned from one of the best, literally, on how to crowd control using music. And so when I went out and did my own small DJ gig for a while, I put that to the test, and sure enough, it was amazing how you can literally manipulate people's mood and what they're doing, the entire crowd, subconsciously without them even realizing it, simply by music choice. And so if I wanted to get them dancing, I'd put something more upbeat. If I wanted to get a little romantic, something, romantic. If I wanted to get them talking, I'll put something mundane. If I wanted, it just depended. It was fascinating. In fact, it was more than once I would experiment. I would see a certain stereotype. Let's say, um, like let's say bikers would come in, and so I'd start putting on some heavy metal, and then I'd slip in something like as soon as I saw them getting into the music and they're singing along and all they're getting into it, I would slip in a golden oldie like the birds and the bees, something completely silly. Next thing you know, you see bikers singing the birds and the bees, and that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I'd even slip in Greek music, and people will not even bat an eye. Like when I get the mood where people are kind of mundane and talking and have the music in the background subconsciously, I can even get away with something like that without anyone protesting or anything like that. So yeah,
Greek music can be very good, brother.
Yes.
I fall in love in
Unless,
I like it very much, Natik Sarase.
yeah, yeah, but unless if you end it up by breaking some plates. So
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not?
opa,
I tell
opa.
you something,
Why not?
sister. I would ask you please, kindly to end it up now by short prayer. Would you
I
be able
will.
to do it,
Let me
please?
Sure.
let me just say, Rob Christian starts his streams with a Greek song, which I
Natik
find.
Sarase, I sell already. That's the point.
Okay,
That's
oh,
the
you I'm
song.
sorry. Oh, that's
Yeah,
it. Okay.
that's the song.
Uh,
Natik Sarase.
See that? See
I
more
I
Greek than
post
I am. I
I
don't even
post
know it.
yeah, I post in the timestamps under his stream the link so you can
Mm,
see. That's the
thank you.
song. You're welcome. Thank you, brothers, again for amazing stream. And it's at 2 hours now. Let us say a short prayer, and God willing, we see each other next week. And thank you for amazing work together and amazing input, brother Nicodemus. And thank you, brother Amir Zaidan, for hosting and everyone who joined
Thank
and who
you.
will watch later. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for those two beautiful brothers and beautiful souls that do work excellently together. And Brother Nicodemus had put such research to present many facts about film industry. Lord, we thank you for those two people and all their work for Lord's kingdom and for stating the truth. We thank you for beautiful day and people around us. We thank you for so much goodness, grace, and blessings that you grant us. Thank you for our families and friends and for all your grace. mercy, and love. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Lord, for all your patience with us, even we don't deserve. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Brother Nicodemus. Thank you, Sister Dragona, for all the prayers, and Brother Nicodemus for all the this lovely presentation. It was lovely, basically. Today it was really good. Well
Yeah,
done. Well done.
yeah. Don't.
And
I want to remind you both. Don't forget a thriller. I get back then even the same leather jacket like he has.
There you go.
In red, in red.
Yeah, that was so popular back in the day.
oh yeah.
And
God
by the
bless you,
way,
brothers. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you.
Uh, Brothers and sisters, thank you for coming. God bless you all. And please, basically, just write for us any movies you like us to speak about. And in this, every Sunday we'll be speaking about a movie. And if you think that there is a movie we should speak about, it has something antichrist, something like speaking too much about, let's say, bullying, about color, about anything, let's say you think it's too much, just put it for us in the comment section, and we'll be speaking about. Or if you have any topic about Islamic topic, or even Christian thing you want us to be speaking about, just please write it down in the comment section, and I will go for it. And like that, we'll be teaching, we'll be helping you, or we'll help, we would like to help and reach to everyone. God bless you all, and we'll be leaving you now with the
Oh,
blessing of the Lord Jesus Christ. Go ahead, speak, brother.
I want to just leave them with one soundbite. I want to unveil one.
Go ahead.
Um, here you go. One popular one.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Good one. Good one.
All
Well
right.
done,
God
well
bless
done.
everyone. Take care.
Goodbye.
Thanks. Thank you again.
Please subscribe to my channels, press like and the bell to receive all my new videos. Leave your comments below, opinions, or questions. Follow me to know what is next, or in case they close this channel. Hashtag Amarzadane YouTube channel. YouTube.com/AmirZaidan.
Thank you very much. Jesus Christ be with you.